Hello everyone, this is White Wolf and we are going live, and I wanted to talk about knowing and the divine feminine and how it correlates with really gathering your will, gathering your intention, gathering your actions, and also talking about the reinforcement of the divine feminine as well. So understanding that everything stems from the divine feminine, it stems from knowing, it stems from emulating, being vulnerable, releasing energy, tapping into energy. So when I'm talking about knowing and frequency and alignment, when we're gathering our will, we have to come from that cosmic egg of creation, which allows us to tap into our electromagnetic kinetic source energy field, which sort of ignites the flame of passion and desire and allows our desires to be more pure as we're knowing more of ourselves, attuning to our gifts, attuning to our prosperity, understanding our gifts, but knowing comes from the divine feminine. Everything comes from the divine feminine, like masculinity, inner child, finances, everything that we're trying to create within this awareness. If we don't have the divine feminine attached to it, then we are limiting the reception, because that allows the flow of energy, the constant flow of resonance, the constant state of alignment. But also it allows us to channel and to connect more deeper and have more vulnerability and sensitivity and a compassion inside of ourselves that we don't presently have all the time. So knowing ourselves and walking in our vibration and knowing our intentions, knowing our truth and our resonance and our divinity allows us to connect to that metamorphosis of the soul, like the cosmic egg, like I just said, and also just tapping into different frequencies that are resetting the karmic imbalances within our creation. So knowing is understanding that the divine feminine generates and creates everything that we're trying to attract and to develop. So there's a source of development. So I've done many videos on the divine feminine, but they're really wanting me to talk about knowing, walking in your truth, walking within the spirit, and how it correlates the reinforcement of the divine feminine. So when we allow ourselves to seek that out and to understand it and to give it more depth and more continuity, we always have to come to the understanding that we become less triggered, we become less emotional, but we are more in tune to the sensation of spirit and how it develops the information that we intuitively know in ourselves. So knowing and developing and the collapsing of timelines and the sensations that we experience as perception, we allow ourselves to know ourselves in this moment by projecting that divine feminine principle, because when we are more tapped into our femininity, we're open to acceptance, we're open to resonance, we're open to reception. So when we have complete acceptance of who we are at this exact moment, accepting ourselves, knowing ourselves, and emulating that truth and that understanding of that embodiment of that truth, realization, it allows us to know ourselves in that moment. Knowing ourselves, believing in what we're seeking and developing, and allowing ourselves to collapse dimensional ley lines or peak moments so that we're able to expand from that moment. So knowing ourselves is having conviction within faith. We can't do that if we don't have vulnerability, if we don't have a moment of peace, a moment of compassion, and a moment of self-love and self-care and realization of our truest and highest vibration, our higher self. So the divine feminine helps us attune to the higher self's wisdom, because now we're a vessel that's more open, that's more aware, that's more attuned to what it wants to experience at this exact moment. So understanding that is that you can literally change how you feel in this moment, because there is more of an ability to release into the masculine energies of authority, of truth, of resonance, of understanding oneself, but also projection and power and authority. But then there's this aspect of like the inner child that steps in, where there's imagination, there's purity, there's innocence, there's a state of where that is balanced, that is giving you that state of the twin heart. So activating that within yourself and knowing yourself in this moment, the divine feminine allows everything to be experienced. It allows everything to be known and allows everything to be received at the exact moment you're supposed to receive it. So understanding this is that knowing and the divine feminine are closely related, meaning to know yourself, hello, and to know everyone else, and to know everything that is coming from a grounded form of knowing source. So when we are coming from a state of reception and we're coming from a state of really receiving, that means that there's an ongoing progression and there's a transfiguration of the soul within ourselves. So there's more of a balance of light and dark energies. There's more of a balance of positive and negative. There's more of a balance of output and input. So the development is there, but it's actually being allowed to transform itself. But without the divine feminine, we don't have the ability to continue to transform. So therefore, that's where like money comes in. So we have to be vulnerable enough and have compassion and have self-care and self-preservation in order to act on the things that we really want to act on. That's where the divine masculine comes in, where there's a force behind us, there is a passion, there is a fire, there is a flame of desire, but the ego purifies itself so that the desires see that there's a reason why there is an exploration of the desires that present themselves to you. So therefore, now your desires are pure, now your inspirations are pure, now your intentions about what you want is pure because you're not basing your needs and wants to be different. So therefore, there's an outline of creation. So since there's an outline of creation, now you have something to go on. It means now you're channeling your energies in a more balanced state of being. So now you're more balanced, now you're more aware, now you're more cognizant of who you are in this moment. It gives you that sense of pull, of a push, of a magnetic pull and a gravitational pull within yourself. So therefore, the awareness is not over here and the awareness is not over there, but the awareness is coming from the river of source, meaning that Shekinah glory. So glory and grace and dignity comes from the integrity of the divine feminine. So therefore, when there is grace, we don't have to earn it or pull somewhere or figure it out. It is already given to us. So therefore, there is a reinforcement of, and I hope there's a reinforcement of understanding like yourself in this moment. And we are not really here to be imbalanced in any way, shape, or form. Rather, it's masculinity or femininity, because then you can have too much femininity and then it can be imbalanced with your inner child. So, but when the inner child and the masculinity and the feminine energies are more in balance and in sync with oneself, then there is a sense of being aware, being imaginative, being created. But also you're allowing yourself to be thinking about yourself. You change your perception. You change the way you vocalize things. You change the way that your decisions make a different impact over your reality. So you're changing the impact of your decisions, meaning it generates a ripple effect to where you're able to tap into each version of yourself, each personality, each existence, each I am presence. And then you're able to mirror that back into the reflection of the illusion, changing the stimulation of it, the way that it's stimulated in your own presence, in your own awareness, in your own understanding of the divine feminine. So there will be healing done at this live. That was my opener for this live. This is White Wolf. I hope everyone is enjoying the live feed so far, and this message was coming very strongly because I feel like a lot of people think that it's only one energy that is the way, that is the light, and the knowing of it. But actually it's a combination of all these energies, and it's a configuration of all these energies, and it's a depiction of all these energies. So there needs to be different energies that we're plugging ourselves in so that we're interconnected and not disconnected. So there's a connection there that is present, that is aware, that is alive. And it generates that life into awareness. It gives it that light because it appears into awareness and makes that generation of appearance. So anything would not appear if it didn't have light. And we wouldn't be able to balance the shadow or healing or releasing trauma or letting go if we didn't have the dark, which is the feminine. So therefore, there's a balancing of the scales. And sometimes in lifetimes, we are either masculine or feminine. Then we have an imbalance of our femininity and our masculinity. So therefore, if we are more balanced in the energies now, that means we're able to be more prosperous, we're able to be more in sync with our truth, understand our truth, have a love for it, but also have an admiration and a respect for the empowerment past our motivations. And what's beautiful about this is that knowing ourselves, knowing life, knowing everything in existence comes from the divine feminine. Or else we would not have trees, life, children, everything that we have in creation without the divine feminine's reinforcement. So a lot of you will probably have divine feminine guides come to you and reflect to you, high priestess, or even stuff from the Celtic era, or even certain entities like Kuan Yin that will interact with you to help you just give yourself more of a mantle so that the other guides that are more of a masculine nature will be able to be in balance and in sync with you. Meaning that we all have guides that are of different energies and also reflections of past lifetimes of different bloodlines that we've had with angels, with dragons, with galactic beings. So meaning that all of these beings have different principles, have different ways of channeling their energy, channeling their consciousness. So when we pull that all together and we channel the energy of our archangels, our higher self, and our guides and God source energy manifested into the human form, then we are able to really move and manipulate the energy that's around us. So if we're able to generate the pull, the manipulation of the energy, generating a different illusion, that means the illusion within ourselves, or the understanding of that illusion within ourselves, is us drinking from the fountain of youth. And sometimes it's really being grounded, and a lot of us have been going into nature. A lot of us walk barefoot on the grass, or we lay in the grass, or we take time out of our day to make sure we get that dose of vitamin D or the natural energies. Because there's a lot of people that think that that is masculine energy, but actually grounding is feminine energy, meaning that you're grounded. That means you're level-headed. That means that you're, grounded in the way that you are naturally. So there's this natural awareness that is there within grounding, which again stems from the feminine. And what's beautiful about this is that we can all apply this in a very big way. We can apply this in many different ways, but we can also apply this in a way that reinforces the development, the progression, the movement, without having to really move, but tap into simultaneity, which we're tapping into the omnipresence of this moment. So if we're tapping into the omnipresence of this moment, it means that we're experiencing it in all lifetimes, in all realms, in different planes, in different universes, meaning that every I am presence that needs purification, that needs stability and love in this moment is tapping into the energies that it needs, meaning the electromagnetic pulses, meaning the inner child, masculine and feminine, are all being interwoven and interconnected. So that brings us here into the present and gives us this understanding that we are experiencing reality as a whole. We are experiencing what we need to experience, but we're experiencing the reality that is known now. But purifying the now moment is purifying all existences. Meaning when we give into the feminine, it allows us to give into the masculine and the inner child, which gives us greater healing, awareness, and truth, and a long-lasting life. Meaning that we see that we are eternal, that we are an infinite being of creation. So if we are an infinite being of creation, we are a being that demonstrates the truth, that resonates with the truth, that grounds itself back into earth, and is easily able to reflect to one another. So we have the ability to be a reflection to the earth, an entity that has integrated its imbalances and its triggers and its frequencies and its alignment here and now, so that they're here to bring balance back to the scales of reality, rather it's financial, rather it's business, rather it's anything that's being created at this point in time. It reinforces the alignment that is presently here. And hello, how are you? And it just brings back that sense of security, that safety, that innocence that wants to reflect back to itself. So therefore, and I know I said that a bunch, but therefore, without the feminine, without the energetic boost, without the connection of that psychic atomic energy being realized within that safety and that comfort and that validation, that means that then we generate those signs and confirmations that's being mirrored back to us and reflected to us. So the divine feminine allows us to manifest, to generate, to have prosperity, to have everything that we need within this creation. So it just balances the energies that are present and allows us to reinforce what is currently here. So therefore, nothing can change it. Nothing can distort it. Nothing can eliminate it. That will always bring you back to peace, to hope, to prosperity, because you're accentuating your energy and you're in the saturation of it and you're in the transfiguration of the energy itself. Meaning that there is a light, a balance of light, a balance of dark, a balance of everything that you need within this space of energy, because you're eliminating the other energy that is not wanting to accept itself. So there's an inseparability right there, changing the illusion of the higher self. Meaning embraces your highest timeline, embracing yourself, acceptance towards yourself, but also the reception of it so that it can be transformative and balancing and emulating and illuminating the light that you are, because without the light, we would not appear into awareness at all, because that's where the divine feminine comes in very strongly and becomes that source of power and creation and faith and stability. So without it, we don't have knowing, we don't have truth, we don't have emulation. And when we do this healing energy, it's just going to reinforce, connecting to the other energies, connecting to the energy of healing, but also connecting to the energies of quantum activations, meaning that all of us have different chakras in different realms and different planes. A lot of you have galactic chakras, believe it or not. I don't even know fully what they mean or understand them fully, but meaning that our galactic chakras help us balance our energies in the different planes of existence, in the different universes, and in different parallel timelines. So understanding that we're trying to parallel our timelines and our configurations and our elevation of energy itself, so that it's more in sync within the representation of what we want to become. So representation and dressing it in a beautiful bow and a beautiful depiction of energy and the many pixels of creation that we're experiencing here. Meaning that if we just align to that divine feminine and that energy and that purification, that sense of I am, then we give it automatically back. So it's a balance of giving and receiving in this moment. So that's what the divine feminine ultimately is trying to do, is giving that balance of giving and receiving. So we're going to do some healing energy. So if you want to take part in this healing energy, just take part in it, and also just receive the energies, the activations, and the connections with my guides, and maybe some of them are your guides. But also I have announcements. I'm going live around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. If it's any later, 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern, doing readings and healings. And you guys can also book private sessions with me for 1 hour for $50 special. And we're going to do the healing energy. So we're going to recalibrate all the chakras, and we're going to connect to our galactic chakras, meaning that we're connecting to the heart of creation, but we're also connecting to the different I am presences that are becoming enlightened in this moment. Activate the divine feminine. So we're going to do the Kundalini energy, and we're going to have abrupt release, but quick rejuvenation here and now. Also connect to the bloodlines of the galactic beings, the dragons, and the angelic beings that you once were. So connecting to those telepathic abilities, transversing space and time, but we're also just going to balance the light and the dark energies as well. So changing the polarity of positive and negative. Changing the realization of reality as a simulation, but changing the stimulation of reality as we accept it and receive it. Receive a heart activation and align the heart to the mind, which is aligning to your gut instincts, which are stimulations in different configurations of the inner child, the masculine and the feminine. So activate the third eye, all the way up to the causal chakra, and then activating the heart, and then activating the gut instincts as well. And the tree people are helping us with our telepathy, helping us be grounded within the roots to get the water and the nutrients and the sustenance that we need. Helping us with our actions, with our decisions, with life changes. And in this moment, just pull down the Shekinah glory within your space, knowing that it's very easy to tap into, it's very easy to resonate with, and it's very easy just to pull that Shekinah glory and make it a part of your own creation. So see that we are always astral projecting, we're always moving as a soul, we're always emulating the light of Source within ourselves. And whenever we heal, we are using that divine feminine principle. Healing oneself allows the earth to heal and to heal others. Meaning that when we seek that worthiness, when we seek that truth within ourselves, and we seek the purification of mind, body, and spirit, we are the feminine. Whenever we give, we are the feminine. Whenever we represent the expression and the example that we're setting, we are becoming that feminine energy that embraces that masculine and the inner child. And we allow ourselves to fluctuate the energy, meaning that we attune to our abilities, we're aware of our abilities, we know our abilities for what it is, but we allow ourselves to flow with creation instead of being forceful, restricting, or trying to do this thing that tries to be like a band-aid to a problem, but allowing ourselves to just flow with life and energy and prosperity. And sometimes it's just giving yourself to Source, giving your life to Source, being dedicated by Source, and being led by the divine obedience that is led and reinforced by Source and the divine feminine. And tap into your relaxation. Tap into who you are. and just bask in the glory of you accepting the I Am Presence. Light language is being sent out, also DNA codes, tapping into God code, and also activations and downloads and frequencies that are coming from different realms, different planes, different universes, dimensions, planetary systems, and also the angelic realms. From the Anunnaki and the Enochian angels. Take one last deep breath. And you are the Oracle of Bloodline Wisdom, which is God, manifested in the human form. And so it is. So, that was the healing energy, guys. You're welcome. And thanks for the people who have received over the past week, over the past weekend, and clients. And you're welcome. That's what it's there for. That's why I do what I do. Also, I have a private session special, guys, $50 for an hour, $100 for an hour and 30 minutes, and 2 hours for $150 if you're wanting to take on that special. I'm free all week. And also, I'm going to be going live around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern doing readings and healings. And I hope to see you guys there, but I want to give a shout out to all of you guys. You guys make the dream work, and you guys are really, really amazing. And just remember that it's not hard to receive. It's just the acceptance of reception. It's the transformation. It's the transfiguration of the soul. And it's balancing the imbalances and resetting the karmic balance. That's all it's really about. And just every day we become, different beings. We become a different realization, but we also become something so much different than we were before, presently. So, I want to thank you guys. I want to give a shout out to you guys. Thank you so much as you're coming into the live feeds, and thank you for partaking in the live feed. I appreciate it. And I'm White Wolf signing off, and so it is. And watch the messages anytime. If you miss these messages, White Wolf the Oracle on YouTube. And also if you, thank you, you're a legend. I want to go that far, but I just do my job and I do what I'm called to do. But I thank you, James. Well, so I wanted to answer this question because I felt led to do it. How do I heal if I have severe ADHD? I would also look at the past lifetimes, but I would also look at when the ADHD happens, and I would also see where it stems from childhood as well, because everything that we can heal within ourselves, and when we try to use medications, sometimes that doesn't work. So one of the things that I would do is kind of reinforce your belief systems, change your belief systems. Don't be identified with the ADHD. If you want to conquer it, we have the ability to conquer the ADHD. So we all have the ability to heal from certain things. Like a lot of people on the path, they heal themselves from certain illnesses, certain sicknesses. So the way that I would do it is doing the Kundalini energy like for 30 minutes every day, changing your belief systems that you have towards it, also looking at childhood moments and also past lifetimes that have to stem from it, but also speaking against the ADHD. Like I speak against the ADHD and I'm not a part of it. That is not me. That is not who I am. That's not what I want to become. Because once you counterbalance it and once you counteract it, that allows you to target it and remove the blockages as well with the ADHD. So that's my advice to you, because if you keep assuming the ADHD or make it a part of your life or keep speaking about it like it's a real thing, you have to almost get to the point where you speak affirmations against it. Because if you don't want it to be a reinforcement within your life, then you're able to change the narrative and the theme and the direction of it. And then, like I said with the Divine Feminine Principle, have self-love and self-care and compassion towards yourself and an undying love towards yourself, which will reinforce the imbalances towards where it stems from. So that would be my advice to you. So thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the message, and God bless, and namaste. It was a pleasure to be of service.